Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's what I'm talking about. All of our guests today, including Ross Tucker, standing by, sponsored by Basant Motors. You're invited to the biggest sale of the year. The Basant Motors Anniversary Sale is back. Check it out at Basant Motors, BASANT Motors.com. Ross worked the Steelers and Jets yesterday. To Pittsburgh we go, and the press box area.
Pittsburgh will always have salad, always have the hoagies, which I appreciate it. They might not call them hoagies. Carrots, potatoes. Man. And look at that prime rib right as you open it right there. You like that one?
That is absolutely perfect. Look,
there you go. Look at that.
Into yours.
Bang.
As we bring in Ross Tucker from CBS Sports Westwood, one of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. I got to tell you, Ross, looking at that media spread in Pittsburgh, unimpressed until, if you'll pardon the expression, they brought the meat out. Tell me you ate that whole thing.
I did not eat the whole thing, but I did have some, and it was delicious. Although, interestingly, the guy had such a dull knife that he declined to cut it in pieces for me. So I am a huge believer, because obviously I'm insanely healthy, of getting a whole thing of salad, right? I had a whole bed of lettuce.
Yep.
And I wanted him to cut me 2 slices of the prime rib, but then cut it up into bite-sized pieces, dump that on top of the salad. It's like a steak salad. Every bite, bam. He declined because he said his knife was too dull. So I took my plastic knife and cut it up into pieces, put it on my bed of lettuce, and had a delicious Ross Tucker customized steak salad.
Low carb, I might add.
Love
Hey,
it.
37-15 for the Steelers over the Jets. Russell Wilson's first significant action for Pittsburgh. What did you think of his performance?
I thought it was horrible in the first quarter, and then pretty darn good after that, which I guess would be expected. I mean, the guy hadn't played in a real game in a while. And it's different. It's different out there with the live bullets, and people are able to hit you, and things just kind of move faster. They happen faster than practice. So I give him a lot of credit for sticking with it. There were some boos. I mean, there were a couple 3-and-outs in a row. Yeah. He threw like 3 worm burner passes, real dolly walls where you just threw the ball right at the foot of the receiver. It's not even close. He did several of those, and the fans were getting anxious, but they kind of broke through. It's interesting because the whole game changed on the Aaron Rodgers interception at the end of the first half. The Jets are up 2 scores, less than 2 minutes to go, and they have the ball. He tried to fit a ball into a tight window. Beanie Bishop made a terrific play. Steelers get a touchdown. Then second half, the ball goes right off Garrett Wilson's chest. Can't happen. Beanie Bishop picks it off again. Next thing you know, Steelers just roll the Jets off the field.
Hey, in defense of Russell Wilson, the fans were also booing the chef with the dull knife. So he had company. he had company, Ross. Lions over the Vikings. This was a great game to watch, 31-29. What did the Lions show you in their first full game without Aiden Hutchinson?
Right, well, that they're still good.
Yeah.
And they're always going to be resilient. Not that should be much of a surprise, right? With Dan Campbell as their coach, I think we all know that they're going to be resilient and they're going to keep fighting until the end. They showed a couple other things. One is that Jared Goff is playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL over the last month or so. And also defensively, you could see the loss of Hutchinson, right? Like they definitely blitzed more. They had to blitz more. That was certainly a concerted effort on their part. They're just very fortunate to have the offense they have. And how about Brian Branch on defense? Falls to the second round because he doesn't quite have the height, weight, speed ratio that teams are looking for. He's just one of those guys. He's just a baller. He's just one of those guys that has the natural instincts to make the play that needs to be made. I love him.
Hey, Ross, before they went to Atlanta over the weekend, the Seahawks defense had 1 turnover in their previous 5 games. This game, they had 3. 3 in a row, I think, on 3 possessions from Kirk Cousins. How great was that for the Seahawks defense to come up with an effort like that?
Hard to overstate how important that win was for the Seahawks. That is, like, in my mind, the difference between them legitimately being in the mix and having a chance in the NFC West and in the NFC playoff picture versus, okay, they've lost 4 in a row. They're not going anywhere this year. That's how big that win was. And to do it convincingly by 20, and you're right, I'll say this, Rick, turnovers are not a predictive statistic. Now, teams that turn it over a lot, turn it over a lot. Teams that force a lot of takeaways, typically. But in any one-game scenario, that might not be the case, right? This team could have average 3.5 turnovers per game, but then that one Sunday they don't get any just because it's kind of a little bit fluky. I mean, even the one interception, Drake London, it went right through his hands. He should have had it, but the Seahawks took advantage of it, including that defensive touchdown, which I'd love to see the statistics. I'm sure somebody has it with the winning percentage for teams that have a defensive touchdown. It's got to be super high.
Ross, Deshaun Watson. It wasn't even Watson. It wasn't even. He just did it on his own. He fell. It looks like an Achilles tendon. He's out for the year. But the thing was, some of the fans were I think they were cheering. Yeah. And some of the Browns players were really upset with that. What did you think of that?
So, Rick, when the show, how much prep would you say you do before the show starts?
A ton. I've got hockey, our football team, our soccer team. I was prepping last night for a good 3-4 hours.
Okay, so part of that prep is you have me on for 12 minutes.
Yep.
And you prep 3 questions you're probably going to ask me.
No, but I have
and you can't
6 or 7.
You can't get the guy's last name or the fact that they were cheering instead of booing. I mean, you failed, Rick. You failed this episode.
It was a long night last night, Ross. It was a long night.
Why did the junior hockey team have a big trade?
They actually played in Everett against the Everett Silvertips. They lost in overtime.
I know. I was watching, of course. I tell you what, I like that young kid from Saskatchewan. I do.
He's going to be a player.
Who doesn't?
He's going to be a player.
I got his agent's cell phone so he can text me when he's going to turn pro. No, listen. It's never okay to cheer when someone gets hurt. Never. Mm-hmm. I understand why the Browns fans did it. They don't like him as a player. A lot of them probably don't like him as a person because of what he did, which, by the way, I think would be understandable. But I still don't think you cheer when he gets hurt. Right? It's like anything else in life. It's like what I say to my kids. How do you want people to look at you? To me, it's like the Giants fans that were booing Saquon Barkley. Yeah. Do you want to be that type of person in life? Or do you want to be the type of classy person that recognizes that for 6 years, the last 6 years, Saquon was your best player? Fought through all kinds of injuries, rehab from a bad one, represented you so well off the field. Your team didn't want him back. You don't boo that guy. I'm not saying you have to cheer him. He plays for the other team. Don't cheer him. But don't boo him. Treat him like anybody else on the other team. Yeah. But they're fans for a reason, Rick. There's a lot of fans out there that have a lot of Rick in them. You know what I mean? They just don't see the big picture, small-minded and reactionary. They drink too many Kokanese when they go to a game and then they start booing or cheering or whatever.
Yes.
You have no idea how close you are to reality talking about the kid from Saskatchewan, by the way. It's not that far from the truth. Hey, let's get back to Jared Goff for a second, if you don't mind. Well, where do you think his career was, and what was your opinion of it when he got traded from the Rams to the Lions?
I thought he was headed towards high-end backupville. I thought he was headed towards bridge quarterback status. I mean, McVay didn't want him. McVay left him for dead. The Rams gave the Lions an extra first-round pick to essentially take Jared Goff's contract off their hands. And now Goff is playing at such a great level. I'm so happy for him. So many people, for whatever reason, just totally crapped on him. And he went to a terrible team and just kept battling, just kept playing. You know, he's really a pretty cool story of perseverance.
Ross, thanks for this, and thanks for keeping Rick sharp. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Rick, I haven't mentioned it in a while, but now you have homework. You need to buy a myfrontpagestory.com for somebody in your life. Myfrontpagestory.com.
I'm on it.
Anniversary, birthday, maybe colleagues like Donnie or Ryan that you let down by not being prepared for today's show. I don't know. It's kind of up to you. Myfrontpagestory.com.
I'm on it.
Can you get him a copy of the Cleveland Browns roster while you're at it, Ross?
Deshaun, I like that you knew the Deshaun. I would say the Deshaun part is easier to remember than the Watson part.
Ross, we
What
are.
are you going to go with?
Ross,
Since you didn't know his last name, what were you going to go with? You're going to go with Wilson, weren't you?
We are we are humans. We make mistakes. I even think the great Ross Tucker, when he goes about his day today, will make a mistake at somewhere in the next 24 hours.
Here's what I want. Hit me up on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. Have I ever made a mistake on Donnie and Dolly? I wouldn't do that, Rick, because I care too much about Basant Motors and their anniversary.
Boom.
Okay.
Basant Motors, good people out there.
I love Basant Motors. That's where I get all my cars, and I'm excited about the anniversary.
Ross, get you a car.
Thanks for this, my friend. Keep it up.
See you guys.
Appreciate it.